AM WBEE HD2 and W239BF Rochester. The sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR Rochester. An Odyssey sports station. Welcome into the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia, where the voice of the Rochester fan is heard. Pull up a stool and join us at 866-4326. This is WGR Rochester, and the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia is on now.
2 hours of sports talk excellence here from the Flowers State downtown studios here, High Falls District. My name is Gene Battaglia. Where the sun is out, it's a little windy to say the least, but we're going to talk some sports with you. Rochester sports, Wings, and little Nighthawk news today. I got a Bills note or two up my sleeve. Thanks for joining us here. 585-866-4326. We're on 95.7 FM, AM 950. Always streaming for free inside the Odyssey app. And we're on YouTube and Twitch. So you can say hello to us there. Funny how, like, Tim and I just kind of come in. You know what would be great, though? Like, if you were here full-time and I was doing this as a full-time job.
That would be nice.
So, I had somebody that had known me for years who was absolutely floored, like, wait, you actually do sales at Odyssey? I'm like, yeah. Yeah, because he was working with somebody named Jimmy Stupinski, and if you know our business, he just retired. And so I'm like, hey, I'd like to work with you. And I'm like, what do you know about advertising? I'm like, well, actually. So, yeah, that's why. When I hear White and Shope and all these guys, like, yeah, that must be, like, nice to do a show and actually spend all day preparing for a show. So every second we have here, you and I, we make it count. And in the 5-minute conversation you and I were having as we're looking at stories that are coming across the wire right now, and it's a story from the NHL that you might say, but does this really kind of connect to the Bills? And I would say there's an analogy. Follow me on this. Like, you could say, boy, of all the teams in the NFL this year, the Buffalo Bills have the most pressure. And we say this annually now. Like, right? The clock is ticking. Josh Allen, 30 years old, right? And there's been plenty of great quarterbacks that didn't bust through until their 30s. We don't need to, rehash everything. But I'd say there's actually less pressure on the Bills this year as compared to last year, where, last year, holy cow, how many cracks are the Bills going to get at this with Sean McDermott? And especially when you saw, wow, Burrow isn't around, and Mahomes is gone. The Ravens not invited to the party. When is there ever going to be a path clearer? And that's dialed up the pressure even more because you couldn't even win the division last year. So this year there is the built-in excuse for the Buffalo Bills. That being, hey, you get to the end of it like, well, what did you expect? It was a new system and new personnel. Well, what did you expect? Hey, the wide receivers. We knew that, Palmer might not work out, or Coleman, whatever direction you want to predict it'll go. There are excuses that will kind of lead you to think that maybe 2 years from now would be better. I don't buy any of that. There should be pressure on this Bills team, but the excuses are there. I'm going to give you one organization right now in sports where the pressure is sky high. And this comes today from the NHL. And the NHL, like the NBA, where, hey, our team, we just crowned a champion. Hey, let's end it in next year. There's no breathing room whatsoever. Like in the NBA today, I don't want to talk some NBA because, hell, a lot of Knick fans, right? Pretty good day. We'll get to that. While we have news that Trae Young is opting out. Like, okay, can we wait on that? And in the NHL, I don't really care about a parade in Raleigh or whatever it is they do down there. But wouldn't you want to give this a half beat before we start trading and talking about other things? No. We just kind of, and part of this is the season's so damn long, got to kind of roll into it. Well, there's one team that still has a head coaching vacancy. As compare this to the NFL where, hey, they draw it out and they want to interview a lot of people, and that way if anybody accuses them, no. Look, HR, we do our due diligence. NHL seems a little more lax in that regard. But the Edmonton Oilers had to go seek permission from the league to go at least talk to Mike Babcock. Now, if you're not familiar with Mike Babcock, head coach of Detroit, gets run out of Toronto, and then goes to Columbus. When he gets run out of Toronto, it's like, okay, he's a coach from yesteryear that uses tactics that a players' association wouldn't deem favorable right now. Like, what are we doing with this guy, right? There's certain guardrails in place. It was so bad in Columbus when he got dismissed that, honestly, Edmonton didn't even know if they were allowed to talk to Mike Babcock because it went so poorly in Columbus. The league completed their investigation today, and surprise, ta-da, he's cleared to interview with Edmonton. This brings up a lot of questions at 585-866-4326. Like, why would Edmonton even go down this path? Because when I say teams that have the most pressure on them, Connor McDavid has a shelf life in Edmonton. You may not think that, and sure, he signed a contract last time around, but it wasn't long term. Nope. He's got this year and then next year, and then bam, he can go anywhere at age 31, which, as Jordan Stahl showed us, you can still. Where's it, Eric Stahl? Which
Jordan Stahl won the cup.
Thank you. I just doubted myself for a
Former
second.
Sabres legend Eric Stahl.
Thank you. Yes. Doubted myself for 1 second when I shouldn't have. The point being, though, that Connor McDavid is underpaid right now. Connor McDavid, come on. Like, after a down year in Edmonton, hey, Knobloch, it was great that you brought the team to 2 cup finals in a row. Beat it. It's so.
And you're in the playoff mix.
Yeah. It's
not
like,
good enough.
Beat it. You lost to Vegas. Like, there is so much pressure in Edmonton. Little Edmonton. I'm sorry. Like, people would say Little Buffalo. It's Little Edmonton because you don't deserve a star the magnitude of Connor McDavid. You could say that Buffalo doesn't deserve a star the magnitude of Josh Allen, and my gosh, we're going to do everything to make Josh Allen happy and win him a championship, right? To the point where, all right, new head coach, new this, let's try a different formula. They're trying that. So this just begs questions, right? Because is Connor McDavid should be aligned with the head coach that comes in. Is he asking for the totalitarian head coach in Mike Babcock to come in and they shake things up? Is that a McDavid? Or is it the other way around where, like, you know what? This team is too coddled and we don't care what Connor McDavid says. We're bringing in Mike Babcock. Or as you brought up, Tim, hey, wasn't Cassidy, the former head coach at Vegas, supposed to be the guy that would end up in Edmonton, which make a lot of sense to me, except Vegas is being dumb and petty because more often than not, non-competes, they let you out of it because the team doesn't want to pay. Vegas does not want Cassidy in Edmonton. This is where a strong commissioner could step in and say, you know what, knock it off. You let him go, let the man take the job, and you get to save money. For example, right, if Sean McDermott, who is still getting paid, how many vacancies were there in the AFC East? There was one in Miami. Would the Bills be upset? Would anybody be upset if Sean McDermott went down to Miami? I mean, we might have been like, ew. But in the end, if Terry Pegula and Pete Guillory decided, you know what, no, we're not going to allow that. No, it doesn't happen in the NFL. Or rarely. I'm sure there's instances where that does happen, but no, that's petty and small. If you didn't want him, let the man get on with his life. So I just found that interesting, and it just kind of brought back all right, because last year felt like the year of pressure. Will there be less pressure on the Bills this year? Probably not. Once you get into it, once there are a few losses, once you start to question some of the moves that have been made, that's the NFL. The highs are high, the lows are low. It's so much fun. At 585-866-4326. Have not set up the show. Before I tell you who's on, let me just tease the fact that we've got more Red Wing tickets to give away. Rochester Red Wings tomorrow night against Toledo. Now, they can't clinch tomorrow night. However, check that. If they could.
A couple things have to go our way both days.
Both days, right. So you may know by the end of the night tomorrow night, and because they'll be an hour behind us, I don't think you would know maybe you would know as the fireworks were going off, I suppose. But the Red Wings, should they end up in first place and it's going to be by percentage points because they're not going to finish with an even number of games with Memphis or Nashville, then your Rochester Red Wings are a postseason team, and they will host the second half winner of the International League in that 3-game series, best of 3, all here in the Flower City in September. So this is the rare June feels like playoff baseball. Like rare, I'm going to say unique. Well, this has never happened to us before. Like, there's been no split season pennant race in Rochester before. So this is a first. So we have that. Great baseball tomorrow night, Wings in Toledo. And if you are going, please go out a little early just to see, am I going to throw it in the dirt? I think I'm going to go over, and I shouldn't say this out loud, but there is one diamond in high school sports that still is free and accessible to the public. Because a lot of these, you go around, all these school districts, Tim, are spending buku bucks.
Yeah.
Whether it's Honeoye Falls, Lima, whether it's Webster, Fairport, if I'm not naming your, like there's so many of them, right? Where you had these baseball diamonds that are now just turf all across, lights. Look, where was this when we were playing? My gosh, this would have been fantastic. Hey, Spencerport, yeah, you still have the good old grass field, no lights. And anybody can walk down there, take the tarp off the mound. I think I'm assuming there's no, like, what is the league there? Whatever the league is they do after the season. I think I'm going to go over and give it a shot here tonight, Tim, because I can't throw off the rubber for the first pitch, but I can do the bottom of the mound.
You can do the rubber. Dan Mason told you Monday you could. Maybe you're just nervous. You don't want to do the rubber. I think Dan Mason gave you permission on these airwaves that you could do it. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it.
You're gonna pull the tape, aren't you? I was like, now I have to go from the rubber if I have to.
You got to get up there.
I got to get up there. Oh, my gosh.
And then you got to deliver.
You can't be throwing it, yeah. I can't be.
Phone in hand?
Nope, phone in hand. That is going to be that's going to be tomorrow night. It's a 6:45 first pitch, and I think we're doing this at 6:30. There's probably going to be some other sponsors or like real people of importance.
Some game presentation.
Yeah, not us, but we'll be out there. So, Tim, am I nervous?
Now you are.
No, I am. That's why I'm going to go over and practice tonight. Practice may or may not make perfect. We invite you to join us, 585-866-4326. That's the Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub Wingman Line. Award-winning barbecue from Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub, 135 West Commercial Street, East Rochester, goodsmokebbq.com. Brian Koziel is the host of Tee to Green as, we have our third major going on, Shinnecock. It is going on. This morning you woke up, fog. Oh, come on, they can't play through fog. Can you imagine playing?
Where's that ball going?
Where's that? To me, that's like every golf shot ever. Like you see it. Like if you go, like I don't know how they pick it up, how people pick it up, and we're going to be keeping an eye on Jackson Ormond. So Jackson Ormond, which is really cool if you look this up. Jackson Ormond, Rochester, New York, is listed as. Technically, he's from Webster, but he's ours, right? Qualifying. He's 18 years old, amateur, and he is through 7. He has bogeyed 3 of the first 7 holes. So I don't know if you extrapolate this out, if he finishes with a round of 76, 77 today and finishes 6 or 7 over. If you're not familiar with Shinnecock, and Brian wanted to talk about this, it looks like something that should be overseas, honestly. You're way out on Long Island, and it's a link-style course, which would mean wind coming through. So we'll take a look at the leaderboard here in a little bit. So they're running behind today. Ormond was supposed to tee off a little after 8:30 this morning, so that didn't happen until later. So we'll talk about that. And, yes, we'll talk some Sabres. See, this is the fun part now, meaning how before the year of the Orem Power Draft, it was one of our listeners. And he tweeted a photo. I'll never forget this. Like, it was the first time I was familiar with this meme. When the Sabres won the draft lottery, it's the Lieutenant Dan, New Year's Eve, 1970, sitting by himself at the bar, and everybody else is celebrating, and he just doesn't like his lot in life, and there's just confetti falling on his head. meaning, hey, this is something to celebrate. I don't want any part of this. And when the Sabres won the draft lottery for the rights to draft Owen Power, that's exactly the right tone. I'm like, oh, okay, great. Another reason why this team drives me up a wall. It's all happening now. And unlike previous years, am I really into the draft all that much? Sure, but now the July 1st, now things are kind of moving. Now, actually, we get off the air yesterday. I'm like, oh, that couldn't happen like right when we were on the air. We had a trade. Michael Kesselring, defender, goes to San Jose, all for the rights for the Sabres to move from 27th up to 20. Okay. This begs a lot of questions, right? To me, the NHL draft, doesn't matter if you pick 20th or 27th. Not really. Maybe if you're really into this stuff, but it's not like the NFL draft. There are just so many variables. So I'm not buying the take that Jarmo Kekalainen must be doing something here. He has his eye on somebody. He doesn't think that it'll be a 27. I've also seen the take that, well, maybe they can move up again, and this is another chip, and maybe I'm not buying that either. I'm just buying the fact that Kesselring was a restricted free agent, and the agent maybe just says, hey, you know what? He's not a top 4 defenseman in your system. He might not be top 6. Can you do my client a solid? And the savings here for the Sabres are $1.4 million. That's not all that much. I'm going to give you something else that I'm not buying as well because, here stateside, when it comes to the NFL, I say, hey, name the NFL, info guys. Oh, that's easy. It's Rappaport. It's Schefter. It's Jay Glazer. Dan. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Well, the point is, there are info guys in the NHL, too. We don't follow Dreger and Freeman. We don't talk about, who do you follow there. But it seems like there's a consensus that Bo Byram might be available. And here's why I'm not kind of buying that. Yes, Byram is entering the last year of his deal, number one. And if you get the sense that you can't re-sign him, and number two, you're going to have all these other decisions. See Zach Benson, right? There's a lot of guys. See Owen Power. We're just talking about him. Can you really afford to pay 4 defensemen? Because Dahlin ain't going anywhere. Samuelson's really good. And Power being a number 1 overall pick, although he's the right-hand shot and Byram's the left-hand shot, I mean, are you trying to get out a year ahead of this? That's the only reason I think it's even worth. But I'm not doing it unless there's a prize like Connor Hellebuck at the other end. I'm sorry, I'm not doing this for Robert Thomas. Why? You have young guns here. Let's see what happens with Oslin or Kulig or Consta. Now we know how to say his name, Halanus. Like all these guys up front. This is a chemistry, a team that don't you want to see the core back together next year? And why would you take away Byram this year? I'm willing to say, you know what, Bo, you're with us this year. And if you ball out's not the right phrase here in hockey, but if you play to the best of your abilities, you're going to make a lot of money. We'll let you test the free agent market and see Alex Tuch. And I think Tuch is actually going to leave too. The more you kind of, just my opinion, I don't have any intel. But as we're talking to Brian Koziel in a little bit, of course, because he is your host for Sabres Hockey, and we'll get his thoughts there on what the Sabres should do. 585-866-4326. That is our phone number. Also, next hour, too. Do we believe this or not? So the calendar every year for the NFL is this. It's, hey, we get to June. It's time for mandatory minicamp. The Bills were a week ahead of everybody else. I see the Cowboys today. Hey, last minicamp practice, everybody go home. Buccaneers did that today. But by the end of this week, NFL will be completely dark, which means the NFL is just not going to say, okay, everybody, we'll see you late July. Bye. No, they want to keep the cycle going. So they've already released the schedule. We've already had the draft. We've already did this. Sure, we'll get a personnel signing here or there. The thing that's going to keep the NFL in the news cycle between now and the start of training camp. Look at your team's alternate uniforms. You know, things that seem great at the time, now, social media at the top of my list. And I use it way too much. I'm like, looking at stupid Instagram last night, like, what the hell am I doing? Put the phone down, talk to your wife, right? You just have to say that every once in a while. Now, it's teams that have two uniforms. Ready? You know what they're called? One is called home, and the other's called away. We should celebrate those teams. Like, you're the New York Yankees. Be proud. Be proud you said, no, we're not doing any City Connects. And for the Buffalo Bills, it's not a City Connect, but it's a rumor. And a lot of people are like, and a lot of people are down on this. And I think that's because, you know what? We're overloaded. That's all it is. There's just too much. Explain that. Brian Koziel, we'll talk some golf and hockey. And before we get to that, let's give you a chance to win those Red Wing tickets. A family 4-pack to see the Wings tomorrow night. Now, the way this is going to work is you got to use this yourself, okay? You're not going to be able to pawn this off to somebody else because it's tomorrow night. Kind of a will call sort of deal. And we're going to be a tight turnaround here. We'll send you the info today. You got to just, send it back and say, yes, I won. Okay, everybody got that? Got that? Good. Then if you do, well, then give us a call at 866-4326, 585-866-4326. 4 tickets to see the Rochester Red Wings against Toledo tomorrow night. Good luck from your friends here at WGR Rochester.
He is an equal opportunity employer.
WGR Rochester Sports Update.
Rochester Red Wings back on top of the International League by percentage points. This after an exciting walk-off win. Matt LeCroy, manager, on finding a way.
I'm proud of how they fought. We made some mistakes. We made some mistakes on the bases that maybe hindered us a little bit, but they continue to fight, and our bullpen did an awesome job keeping us in it. So proud of the guys. They continue to fight. They believe in themselves, and this is fun, man. They're embracing it, and hopefully this win today will get us really going offensively.
Wings and Toledo continue their series at the stadium tonight. Webster's Jackson Ormond at the U.S. Open. He is through 8 now at 3 over. Your leader at the top, Sam Stevens, Ludwig Auberg, both on the course, 2 under through 11. We'll talk to Brian Koziel, tee to green, coming up next here in the Sports Bar. Majors just underway, Jays and Red Sox. Gene Battaglia, WGR Rochester.
The best local sports talk in the Flower City. The Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia on the Sports Leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR Rochester.
It's one of those kind of cool stories that just came out of nowhere. Like, wait a second. We actually have a local rooting interest? Welcome back to the Sports Bar. Gene Battaglia with you. And whenever we have a major, we lean on our guy, Brian Koziel, from SUNY Brockport. You hear his coverage during the Sabres season. I do have some Sabre questions for you, but Brian, if we could, thank you for your time. If we could just kind of start here, what Jackson Ormond, an 18-year-old, accomplished just to be playing this week at Shinnecock Hills. What is the process for somebody to qualify for the U.S. Open, and just how difficult is it? Brian, how are you today?
I'm great. Good afternoon. Excited to be talking golf with you today. So, yeah, first of all, what a great story. That's super cool that he was able to make it. So you obviously, officially, anybody in the world can make this tournament if they're good enough at golf, I guess. So it has to start with your handicap index. So this number has fluctuated at times, but recently the U.S. Open, it's like a 2-stage qualifying process. There's a local stage, and then they call final stage, which is more of like a regional area. But you do have to have a certain handicap index. So it's at 0.4 or better. A better player that maybe has a handicap, sometimes you'll see a plus next to their number. That means that they actually sometimes would be giving strokes back to the course because they regularly maybe shoot under par. It doesn't exactly mean they're going to shoot under par every time, but that might be, if you see a plus in front of somebody's handicap index, that means they're better than scratch. 0.0, I guess, would be listed as scratch, but plus means even more. So a lot, thousands of people try to qualify for this each year. So there's a local format, a local qualifying that's 18 holes of stroke play, and it's at all various sites across North America. They even have them in Canada and in Mexico. And then if you're able to go from there, each spot says, all right, there's, 15 spots out of these 100, 15 of these will go on to the next stage. And then there's a 36-hole stroke play event played in a single day. And these are held around the country and even internationally as well. There were a couple Buffalo area players that tried to do that as well. They made it to the second stage. But Jackson, I'll throw those two names out there. Anthony Delisante and Ryan Edholm came up just short. They were in that final qualifying stages. But as you mentioned, Jackson ended up making it through that final qualifying stage. So basically, you got to have a certain handicap. If you have it, then you go through these 2 phases, and they call that 36-hole day the longest day in golf because it is a long day, and you're trying to get into the U.S. Open. The U.S. Open does not let in as many as, like, say, the PGA Championship does, which usually lets the top 100 ranked players in the world get in. So, you had a guy like Max Homa trying to qualify just 2 weeks ago up in Toronto at this final qualifying stage. Now, depending upon what your career has done, you can maybe skip that local qualifying one and get into the final one. But for most people, that's how it goes. You got to have a certain handicap, and then it goes through 2 phases of qualifying, and essentially, it can be anybody, and it doesn't matter what you've done in the past. If you haven't necessarily hit certain requirements lately in terms of either finishing in the top 10 in a major, top 5 in a major, or a world ranking, you could be out. A guy like Max Homa is not playing this week because He's struggled over the last 2 years, and he's not playing at the U.S. Open where you see some of these local qualifiers like Jackson Orman get in. So cool story to have somebody from Rochester playing out in Shinnecock here this week.
Yeah, and Jackson Orman's going to go, play golf in Florida, collegially. He's going to be having fun there. But, Brian, at age 18 to pull this off, I'm just wondering, is for him, like, take for example, is this the first time he's ever had a caddy like at an event like this? There's so many things that are going to be new and and exciting to him, and I'm just to me 3 over at Shinnecock isn't 3 it's not so bad your first outing here.
No doubt. I mean, when you look at the fact that there's only 4 golfers as I'm talking to you right now that are under par, I think that's an amazing accomplishment. Beyond the nerves of playing an event like this, beyond the stage, beyond the fact that this is one of the hardest golf courses in the entire country already. I mean, if people talk about, what are the hardest golf courses in the United States? Well, they might say Oakmont, they might say Shinnecock. So, I mean, he's already going out there to play that. And, oh, by the way, it's the USGA setting up the U.S. Open, the hardest scoring conditions in professional golf of the entire season on top of that. So I think that score is tremendously respectable. And, man, how cool would it be? Everybody's rooting hard for him to maybe he can make the weekend and make the cut. What a great story that would be.
So this morning we're just a little delayed. Yeah, delays happen other places other than, Oak Hill, folks. Fog being the reason. So we're a little behind here. But tell me a little bit more about a place we've all heard about, Shinnecock, as you look at these pictures like, if you just said blindly, here's a hole, that looks like something that should be like the other Open, like the link style course. It doesn't look like it should be, stateside. Also, Brian, the weather here looks nice, but I'm just wondering how much wind may be a factor, knowing how close that is to the shore as well.
Yeah, it's right on top of the ocean. For those that don't know, it's out in the Hamptons, in Southampton, and there's not much space between the Atlantic and where this course is located. It's way out east on Long Island. Not the easiest course to get to in terms of traffic and travel logistics, but this course itself has hosted the U.S. Open 5 previous times. It actually hosted the second ever U.S. Open, 1896.
Wow.
Then it was gone for a long, long time. Came back 1986. Ray Floyd won. Then in the mid-90s, Corey Pavin with one of the most famous shots in all of U.S. Open history. He hits his 3-wood medal up near the green on the last hole and then 2 putts to win. And then it was there in 2004. Retief Goosen won. And then recently with Brooks Koepka ended up winning it. So this is another place where the setup because of the U.S. Open, adding into the fact that it's Shinnecock Hills. I love this stat that I saw going into this week. So over the previous 5 U.S. Opens, there's been 654 golfers that have played in this event at Shinnecock. Only 3 of 654 finished the tournament under par. It's pretty amazing. And one of them actually didn't win. The year that Retief Goosen won, he was -4. Phil Mickelson finished as the runner-up, -2. Add that to Mickelson's bad luck at the U.S. Open. He's one of only 3 players to ever finish at Shinnecock under par, but he didn't win. And then Ray Floyd in 1986 was the other at -1. So the winner this week, there's a good chance there might be a plus next to his number. There's a great chance you're going to see a ton of amazing players, some of the best in the world, shoot a score that's going to be in the 80s this week. It's just going to happen with the setup, with the winds being what they are, and being this course and how difficult it just plays on a regular basis.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of these, like Padraig Harrington, 7 over through 13. As you mentioned, only 4 golfers right now that are under par. One of them being Rory. He's 1 under through 12. What a up and down year, I guess, or 2 years in a sense for Rory. Entering this tournament, Brian, where do you think McIlroy's game is at?
I think it's exactly what you said, up and down. I think over the course of even 4 days at this event, we're going to see some ups and downs with him. But, I mean, for a crazy year, yeah, he's still coming off the Masters win. So, I mean, like, it's still, no matter how he finishes this year, he's going to view it as a successful season because he won a major. He won another green jacket. I think Rory can handle this course. The fairways are a little wider than what they've been in the past. They did that on purpose for a couple of reasons. One, they thought because of the weather, hey, this is going to make this maybe a little bit more what the USGA has been using a lot of fair comments this week. They want to make it fair. They don't want any unfair thoughts. So the fairways have been widened a little bit more. They said they average about 41 yards, which is normally wider than what the normal USGA setup is for the U.S. Open. So I think maybe that brings Rory's driver and his length where he can take an advantage a little bit more in play. Rory has never won a major where the winning score has been plus. He hasn't won any tournament where the winning score has been plus. That doesn't normally happen on the PGA Tour, so I don't necessarily want to read too much into that stat. But I guess if you want to read into it and say, hey, when a tournament and a course plays super, super hard, Rory doesn't come out on top. I don't know how much I want to read into that, but that's a stat that I saw this week. But he's off to a good start today. Normally, McIlroy, before he kind of got through getting back to winning these back-to-back Masters here, one of his real challenges has been that he's gotten off to terrible starts in the opening round of majors and kind of putting himself behind the eight ball. He's obviously so far here today, still he's got holes to play, but he's giving himself a really, really good shot here going into the weekend. We know if he's driving the ball well, then he's as good as anybody. And, I like his chances for sure that he could get this done.
We're talking to Brian Koziel, your host of Tee to Green, and we started off talking about the local product, Jackson Ormond, who right now is 3 over through 8. Here's a stat, or just a story. 3 over through 9 is Scotty Scheffler. Look at that. It's so early on, but it's just worth pointing out. Scheffler going for the for the career Grand Slam. As you mentioned, this course is really tough. It's going to be attrition, and even though he's not off to a great start, I wouldn't write him off just yet. Your thoughts on Scheffler and his chances of pulling that off here this year?
Interesting that he kind of has downplayed this whole week about the Grand Slam opportunity, saying like that's not what's motivating him to do well. And what motivates him is the competition. What motivates him is seeing how good he can play individually, knowing his set of skills. So he really didn't want a lot to do with the Grand Slam talk. Do I think he really wants it? I of course, who wouldn't want it? I mean, it puts you in the elite company of golf. Only 6 guys have ever done it. We know McIlroy recently, 2 years ago, with that Masters win, just did it. But, I mean, you get to be put in the class of Nicklaus and Woods and others. So, I mean, who wouldn't want to be in that? I think I partially will agree with Scotty that I don't think he's coming here to a U.S. Open thinking like, oh, I've got pressure because I need this for the Grand Slam. I just think he handles golf in such a strong mental state with himself. He doesn't really put a lot of pressure on himself. He doesn't wrap himself up in like these, pre-tournament storylines too much. So I think it's probably very healthy for him. Playing a sport that we know is all extremely mentally challenging already, no matter what level we are playing at. And, with him being the best player in the world, I could see why the storyline every year he comes to the U.S. Open, hey, you need this for the Grand Slam. You still need this for Grand Slam. Him not thinking about that probably is going to help him in terms of maybe how he mentally prepares. His stats this year, comparable to these last few years where he's dominated. One stat I did see, though, where he maybe could be a little bit better is his stroke drained and the approach shot into the green. We know the U.S. Open, you have to be so tactful in terms of technically in terms of where you hit it on the green, where you can't miss. And his approach the last 3 years, he's averaged about 20 feet into greens in terms of location to the pin. This year it's around 31 feet. So it doesn't sound like a ton, like 10 feet, but for a guy that's as accurate as he is, that's been a little bit off. His putting stats are actually a little better this year. His driving accuracy is pretty close. So it's been where he's been money normally over these last few years and he's been dominating. It's been that approach shot into the green where he gives himself a great chance to make a birdie. That's where he's been a little bit down this year. I would expect if he can get that precision back, that approach shot to the pin, that we'll see Scotty dominating again, just like he did over the last 3 seasons.
Brian Koziel, our guest here. Brian, we haven't talked since, Live Golf is going away, or at least if it still is here, it's not going to be what it was, and a lot of golfers are going to have to figure out a pathway. It's going to be different, I suppose, for a lot of these guys. Where did they go wrong, in your opinion? Because in my opinion, the idea in any sport that there is something else that is going to be competing, whether that is someday maybe we'll have something like this in basketball, or I don't know, maybe there is a league that will compete with the NFL just as once upon a time is the USFL. To me, it's the way they came out of the gate and declared a war on something that I didn't think any of us thought was broken per se. It just felt like either you're with us or against us the whole way. Your opinion here on Live Golf, and could they have done anything differently, in your opinion, to try to get the public over there and actually get a return on that investment?
I think their idea of wanting to label themselves as a global tour probably, I think, still has some merit. They still have had some successful events. The one in Australia that they do every year seems to be like their biggest one. I'm sure there are some untapped areas. Golf is very, very big in Asia, Japan. That's probably still untapped by the PGA Tour. Australia, big, maybe South Africa as well. I think even some spots in the Middle East could work. So I still think like some of their ideas with that, I still think that has a lot of potential. What I think probably wore just off on people was some of just their constant like shoving down the fact of like Live Golf has to be louder and cooler. And I think people watch professional sports still in the end. They want to see the best players and they want to be awed by their skills. And I don't know necessarily if when you think about tuning into Live, was it because you really wanted to see Jon Rahm play like the number one player in the world, or Bryson DeChambeau show off his tenacity? No, they promoted the concerts and the fireworks and all these other things that I feel like can be fun and can be unique. But when it's every single tournament, I feel like that kind of wears off. The Phoenix Open every year, the Waste Management Phoenix Open works on the PGA Tour. Why? Well, it's only once a year. They have the one stadium hole where they actually encourage the fans to kind of yell and boo and cheer and all that sort of stuff. If it was every week, it wouldn't be unique. It wouldn't be special. I feel like that would wear off quickly. And I think some of the things with Live did that. The shotgun start didn't necessarily feel like that ever caught on. I guess in its essence, if you think, we're going to have everybody play in this 4-hour window instead of it being a full day, maybe that could have been attractive to some viewers, but that didn't seem to catch on. Even the 54 holes thing, while that was attractive to players, they got to play less golf. They never could get world ranking points from it. Now they're pushing to have 72 holes, so that obviously turned out to be a mess. I feel like what people liked golf for, I feel like they didn't embrace that enough, and that's great players playing great golf courses. Can you name one golf course that they played? I can't. I'm a golf geek. I can't even tell you one golf course they played. People love these tournaments because they're at Shinnecock Hills, because they're at Oakmont, because they're at Pebble Beach, because they're at Oak Hill. It's, not because it's Live. Well, I'll make this up. Not because it's Live Rochester. No, it's because it's the PGA Championship at Oak Hill. That's why people want to tune in. So for me, that, I don't need necessarily to have music at every single event and screaming and yelling and telling me how cool Live Golf is. I feel like that wore off on me, at least, really quickly, which is, why I feel like maybe that's one of the reasons why it's not trending in the right direction for them.
It's the business example top of mind that comes where Starbucks once upon a time was actually like they're losing revenue. Like, how could we be losing revenue? And the CEO, new guy, comes in, it's like, we need to stop selling CDs and music and everything else and just sell coffee. That's what people are coming from. Like, let's get back to what people want us for. Brian Koziel joining us. Brian, before we let you go, I got to pick your brain on the Sabres here. And this is great that, hey, in late June, and the draft is coming up in July 1st, we're so into this, right? What did you make of the Kesselring trade? Because to me, from the outside, I'm like, why? Was it just simply his agent just kind of asking to do a solid? Because I don't know if necessarily that helps the Sabres. Your thoughts on that move?
I think there had to be a piece from the inside, from Kesselring's camp, that just said, look, like, I can see the writing on the wall, and if there's a move that can be made to help both sides to move me, like, I would kind of request it. Players have these exit meetings at the end of the year. They meet with the coaches. They meet with the general manager. I got to think that was the case. I mean, I think it was probably pretty clear that Michael Kesselring was not one of Lindy Ruff's guys because of the fact that if you went through the playoffs, the Sabres did rotate their fifth and sixth defensive, that last pair, quite a bit during the playoffs. I mean, we saw Logan Stanley. We saw Zach Metza. We saw Connor Timmins. We even got to Luke Shen. So, I mean, if you take all four of those guys, that makes Kesselring maybe defenseman number 9 on the depth chart. And the only game that he got in, he only played barely under 6 minutes. So he battled injury for sure. Did we get the largest sample size to maybe judge the best of Kesselring in a Sabre uniform? I don't think so. He was injured to start. Then he got in. He showed some offensive signs of flashing and good skating. For my liking, he didn't finish enough. I know he wasn't brought in to necessarily score a boatload of goals, but for the opportunities that he had sometimes to score, he seemed as though he just was snake-bitten in terms of scoring. And then the whole second half of the season, he's just dealing with injuries in and out of the lineup. He obviously kept falling down the pecking order. With that being said, when you think about the trade initially of what it was supposed to be, and you gave up J.J. Peterka, a guy that can score, and you're probably thinking, wow, this trade did not work out well. But if you just can you erase all that and just say, hey, maybe you traded your number 9 defenseman to move up 7 spots in the first round that maybe Jarmo Kekalainen would find attractive for that number 20 pick now instead of 27 to do something else with it. Maybe it looks good on paper. Here's what maybe makes the whole trade look better. The other piece of that trade was Josh Stone, who, of course, extremely overexceeded expectations. Now he's signed long-term. He couldn't be any more likable as any player on this team. So in that sense, you can say, hey, look, we still won the trade, and the Kesselring part of it didn't work out, and we salvaged it a little here with this back portion of this trade, moving up 7 spots. So I guess maybe that's how the Sabres can look at it at the end of the day of, hey, would you still trade J.J. Peterka right now for Josh Stone straight up? You would, and you'd say you won that piece, and now look at the other piece of it, the Kesselring part, it didn't pan out. Let's get what we can for it. And maybe Kesselring's camp was also pushing for it too, so you kind of do them a little solid at the same time.
Last one for you, Brian, and it's the big one, right? Because we're wondering, like, a guy from Central New York that meant so much to the Buffalo Sabres, and yet the deal isn't done, and come July 1st, he's a free agent. What's your gut telling you right now when it comes to Alex Tuch?
I mean, my gut would say, looking at the calendar, that it's not going to get done. I feel like if it was going to get done, it would have been done already. If there was going to be a willingness on the Tuch side of things to give a hometown discount to stay with the Sabres, well, then you're not going to wait and turn down a $11 million a year offer or a $12 million a year. If you're willing to sign for less, his agent has done enough homework to know, hey, here's what we think we can get on the open market. So I think if there was going to be any sort of like hometown discount to the Sabres organization, I feel like that would have been done and signed already. I'm sure a lot of the hesitation on the Sabres part is the length of the deal. We know the Sabres up until July 1st have the opportunity to offer the extra year. They can offer 8 years. That's a little bargaining chip in their corner. To me, the symbolism of losing Tuch, had the Sabres not had the season that they had, and losing him would have been devastating. Had this organization been still missing the playoffs again, and we would have been talking about the playoff historical drought going to 15 years, and then you're going to let an all-star level player, a guy that scored 30-plus goals in back-to-back seasons, walk away when he was essentially the only player that really stood up and raised his hand and said, hey, I want to be a Buffalo Sabre. I've wanted to my whole life. I want to be part of the solution here that brings this team back to the forefront. Well, he really was. I know a lot of people's taste in their mouth is the Montreal series where he struggled, especially early in that series, but he was a huge part of them winning that Boston series. He's a guy that can play in any situation on the ice. He was tremendous all year. He's a big reason why they won the Atlantic Division and got in the position they did. So to me, the symbolism of losing that player, to me, would have been devastating. The fact that now the Sabres have turned it around in terms of maybe the image of themselves in the league, that maybe now players will come here as free agents or maybe will not put the Sabres on their no-trade list. I think the sting of losing him, maybe it can be stomached a little. But to me, man, still, he's a good player. Sports science can say these guys can play longer and longer. I am more in the, I think they need to figure out a way to get Tuck signed because he's just such a good locker room guy. That matters in hockey so much, I feel like. But, there's other players to sign. Bo Byram, there was news today about trade rumors with him. Zach Benson's going to need a new contract at some point soon. Are they going to go out and invest in maybe even upgrading goaltending? So, there's some other questions that maybe they have to fill. And, Jarmo Kekalainen might feel like, look, with all these young players like Offland, Kulik coming back, what we saw from Helenius in the playoffs, maybe he's thinking amongst those three collectively, they can get by without having Alex Tuck.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting couple weeks here. Show Saturday, Brian. Okay, moving day. We'll set it. Father's Day, final round. Can't wait. Set us up for Tee to Green. Whereabouts are you guys this coming Saturday?
We are in East Aurora at East Aurora Country Club. 2-hour show, 7 to 9 on the Odyssey app, and of course on WGR in Rochester and in Buffalo. We are there to talk plenty on the U.S. Open, but we'll also preview next week is the International Junior Masters, which has been held in East Aurora for over 60 years now. It's the oldest junior invitational tournament in North America. Trevor Immelman, the Masters champion, who of course you watch on the CBS broadcast, he's played in this. Jim Furyk, a U.S. Open champion, the next Ryder Cup captain, he's played in this. They always have a big Canadian contingent. Corey Connors has played in it. Mackenzie Hughes. So some nice names from across the state and internationally will be there. They usually have somewhere between around a dozen to 13 countries, kids from Australia and South America, Canada, Mexico, and of course even local players from Western New York will be there. So we'll be there previewing that, and of course a ton on the U.S. Open. 7 to 9 Odyssey app as well on Saturday morning.
Brian, thanks. We'll be listening, and let's do this again soon. Appreciate your time today.
Okay, guys. Anytime. Thanks.
Thanks, Brian. Brian Koziel joining us here on the phone. 585-866-4326. Before we go to break, double bogey for Jackson Ormond on 9, so he makes the turn now at 5 over. All right, so way too soon to be doing projected cuts or anything else like that. But as Brian told you, it's just kind of the refresher that the USGA, this is the evergreen topic, right? They're just going to make these courses impossible. And it should have cocked when you're going to throw in a bunch of wind there on top of it. Jeez. So for Jackson Ormond, there's no shame in that. Gosh, first professional outing, and it's the U.S. Open. I think you're representing our town very, very well. We'll give away more Wings tickets here coming up next hour. We will also be having Terrible Time Timmy's Terrible Take of the Day. Real quick, are you prepared today?
I am prepared today.
You're prepared every day.
Yeah.
See, that's where you should take offense for me, even
that's
asking me
okay.
a question. Just so easygoing. If you see Tim out of the ballpark, it's easy. If you just see somebody that looks like Shaggy.
From Scooby-Doo, not the artist.
No, right. And then I'm going to picture Tim just walking around with a cold one in his hand. Just and you would be the guy that would actually, people don't want to talk to me. They would want to talk and meet with you. The analogy here being Friday night, that Sports Bar 1.0, right? We would go out a lot. Which was great because we were new and we were just wanting to meet people. It was the guy Masterstroke who would hold court, take pictures, and Danger would be like, "Okay, yeah, we're over here.
Here we are.
Here we are." You can meet Terrible Take Timmy tomorrow night at the Wings game. We'll tell you about that. 585-866-4326. Gene Battaglia here, WGR Rochester.
sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR Rochester. An Odyssey sports station. WGR Rochester Sports Update.
Rochester Red Wings take on their alternate identity as the Rochester Plates tonight, taking on Toledo. They're back in first place in the International League. Should they remain there on Sunday, they'll be headed to the postseason. The Buffalo Sabres made a trade. They sent defenseman Michael Kesselring to San Jose to move up 7 spots in round 1 of the coming draft. Kesselring was the odd man out, says Marty Baron.
It just didn't work here. Kesselring's a great guy. Got injured, and every time he came back, got injured, and every time he came back, got injured. Now you have a top 4 that is solid. You have a Connor Timmins that fulfilled the role. You have a Zach Metza. You have others, and maybe free agents that are coming in the picture.
Baron on Sabres Live today. Webster's Jackson Ormond, he has made the turn. He's 5 over through 9 at the U.S. Open. Gene Battaglia in the sports leader, 95.7 FM, AM 950, WGR Rochester.
Pull up a chair, stay for a while. You're in the sports bar on WGR. Grab a drink, hang your coke, get sports talk. Live from Western New York. It's a master show. 9 times better than your typical host. 9 times. Gene and Tim have takes much hotter than most. No one cares when you're out. Sabres, Bills, Americans, Red Wings, and Nighthawks. Sports bar for Rochester Sports Talk.
Hour number 2 as we're coming to you from the downtown studios here in High Falls District. Gene Battaglia with you here, talking Rochester sports, Western New York sports. Hey, we have a new coach of the Nighthawks. They made that official today. Saw murmurs of this last night as his name is Troy Cordingley. So he's won a couple championships as a player. The team in orange. And he's won a couple championships as a coach. So somebody with some cachet. Last year, the Nighthawks, they were a disappointment. There's no doubt. 2-0, they started out, and then everything just kind of fell sideways. You could say it was the goalie suspension. I mean, we could debate what happened there, but moving forward, it's a roster that has talent on it. We'll talk to the new head coach tomorrow, Troy Cordingley, named as the new head coach of the Rochester Nighthawks. He will join us on the show tomorrow. 585-866-4326. We will have another chance this hour for you to win Red Wings tickets, family 4-pack. That will be coming up this Friday night at ESL Ballpark as be throwing out the first pitch, and I'm going to go practice tonight because as you pointed out, Mace, I can't believe this is true. He said he's going to let me throw from the rubber.
Do it if you want to.
No, I have to.
I think you do.
Yeah, I have to. It's not like I'm not hitting off the. I don't mean to offend anybody, but they used to call them the ladies' tees. Do they still do that?
I think they just call them the Reds now.
The Reds, yeah. Like I'm not going to do that. Like they're not going to throw from the grass. I got to go up there and, throw. Up
there like a real pitcher. Gene Battaglia, pitcher. Number 16.
But the problem is that you're not holding a glove. You're not really a pitcher. This is kind of a different thing. And the other problem is, I'll just kind of admit, we're not used to doing this in front of like a live studio audience. We've been out places right over the years. We've been to Three Heads. We've been other places, but not, this is what I do for a living. I don't throw a baseball for a living.
You're a professional talker. That's easy.
That's easy.
But throwing a baseball in front of a couple thousand people, I don't know, man.
Yeah, if I throw it in the dirt, you know what I'll do? I promise I will laugh. If I throw it over Spikes' head, I promise I will laugh. I don't think they're going to allow you to catch it, by the way.
That's fine.
I think it has to be Spike.
The big red bird's got you in good hands.
Yeah. So they can't bonk the big red bird. Jeez. Yeah, that's just a modest goal tomorrow night. Do not embarrass yourself. Fantastic day today in New York City. I've got this Bills uniform. Can't call it an update, but man, there's some speculation going online right now. We'll get to all that here. And again, Wings tickets coming up. Tim Schneider, Pride of Fairport, now to dispense his wisdom.
It's now time for Terrible Time Timmy's Terrible Take of the Day on WGR Rochester. WGR Rochester. It's Terrible Time Timmy's.
had two for you today. I'm going to save one of them for tomorrow. It's a big baseball day. No,
it's
I
not
know.
terrible. Yeah, right.
But you had mentioned preparedness. I was so prepared. I had double the necessary takes. So I'm going to push one of them back.
All right.
I'm going to push one of them back to tomorrow. We've got a big baseball day. That'll be the tease.
All right.
Baseball.
Baseball.
I'm going to circle back. Is that what the adults say these days still? Circle back on this? We talked the other day about Brennan Storesby and how he's decided to enter the supplemental draft. I was going through it and looking at the teams that might be considering, and there's 4 or 5 that you might want to throw a 4th or a 5th or your 6th. And essentially, if you're throwing a 7th at him and nobody else claims him, that's where you get him. Fine. But I think that similar to how Shadur Sanders fell mightily in the draft from a top 5 pick to barely the 5th round, I think the NFL should stand in arms here and not select him. And not only not select him, but we saw it in the G League where players were playing G League games and then going back to college. Yeah. Sorsby's going to go unselected in this draft and then try to go back to college yet again. And it is going to cause absolute madness where the NCAA has kind of been boneless. But now they will step in. Like basketball ruined because of all these people. You can just sign literal pros, and they're coming back to college and being able to play in the starting 5 for Alabama and what have you. Sorsby is going to try to do this, and the NCAA will finally step in, and we will get some sort of law and rule within this lawless organization. And it might be the thing that kind of sets the NCAA back on track here. And it only starts with the NFL being in agreement to not select him.
So, like, there are history things we can draw from, right? And this isn't going way, way back. Like quarterbacks that went in the supplemental draft and why. And this tells you, like in our lifetime, how far things have come. But in this direction, not in the right direction. So, to me, like the biggest name in recent years, you got to go back to 2011, Terrell Pryor. Raiders spent a 3rd-round pick on Terrell Pryor. Anybody remember why? Was it because he had a gambling or he did some sort of crime? Oh, no. He signed memorabilia for a car dealer. Something today that is completely fine. Yet back then, shame, shame, shame. You are not eligible. Goodbye, Terrell Pryor. And he enters the supplemental draft. And back then, like had he stayed, I bet he would have gone further than the 3rd round, right? But teams just, oh, my goodness, this is character. What? No, it wasn't. So silly. Now, Sorsby, on the other hand, come on. Like, you're a team that this is, do you have time to really vet this out? Meaning, is he really, really on a path to recovery? I wouldn't be giving up an asset to find out, Tim, to your point, whether that's a 4th, a 5th, a 6th, or a 7th, because that's not free. You lose that next year. Really, that's all this is. It's kind of an advanced draft here. We're going to bring him in. And if you think he's worth the gamble, I shouldn't have said that. Should not have sent that.
Hey, it's allowed. We'll allow it.
Yeah, like, then spend the 6th or 7th, right? Like, that's... But the more you think about this, the more I'm inclined to say, no. Like, if you're the NFL, like, you can come in and maybe we can have you, in rookie camp or whatever it is, and he's nothing more than camp fodder at this point. Like, what he should do is go back to school. He should have but I don't think he can actually go back to school, Tim. That was, like, the whole thing. It was going to be like he'd have to sit this whole year. I don't know if there's an alternate league he can go play in.
You can find another school. Somebody will take him in.
No. I think his eligibility's up, though. Period. The end. He does not have any eligibility left. That's it. So with him being suspended this year, that was it. That's the whole storyline with Sorsby. He wasn't going to sit a year and then end up playing at Syracuse or whatever. That was never going to be on the table. Now, could he sue? Hell, he did it before.
Right, that's what they've done. So the way that it stands now, currently, is he's suspended for 2 games. If he just takes a year off, or not even takes a year off, if he goes unselected in this draft and then just decides to go back, I don't think there's anything stopping him.
More precedent crap.
Right.
More precedent crap. So, good. Anything that embarrasses and shames the NCAA, I'm all in favor of. 585-866-4326. Brian Koziol was great. We talked a little Sabres. We talked about this. I haven't talked about what's happening downstate. These photos are fantastic.
Man. Yeah.
These photos are fantastic. And, I should have been more productive this morning. I like to get up, every day around 6 o'clock and kind of, all right, what's happening? What script do I need to write for a client? I've got to follow this up. I've got to do this for the kids. What did I do this morning? I looked at my laptop. I'm like, why am I looking at this blank ground? And then I changed it to the OG tip. I'm like, yes, this is going to make me happy. Every time I fire up, hey, it's not work. If I see Anunoby floating through, and now he says he was going for the dunk. I don't doubt him. It all worked out in the end. That's the play that you can make a silhouette. And how many plays in sports can you actually say you know exactly what that play is if you just did it by silhouette? Like Jordan and Elo. That's the one, because you see Jordan like a mile in the air, and you see Elo almost like he's falling, like he's feeling like, ugh, just so short. I mean, that is just devastating for fans of the Cleveland Cavaliers.
The Dwayne Wade celebrating the LeBron dunk before he made it. That one came to mind first.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Is there Bobby Orr? Okay, Bobby Orr floating through the crease. You know exactly that photo. Muhammad Ali, like he made a silhouette. To me, OG, that's what's going to turn out to be someday. And today, literally 7 figures, 1 million people in New York City. Just in the weather held out. That's great. I'm seeing pictures as I'm waking. I'm like, wow, there's Michael F. Florio. He's already down there. People were out there kind of camping out overnight in some spots. So good that the city had this celebration. James Dolan went on WFAN, and I just see, now this is where I'm cognizant that if I bring this up, that it's the both sides out of your mouth kind of thing that's going to be, because I'm going to say, hey, James Dolan, keep your mouth shut. However, in this business, people ask questions and you want answers. So if somebody on the radio asks you a question, you want an honest answer, right? So me as the fan, I don't want an honest answer today. But what Dolan did was it's grabbing headlines in a day, which I don't think there should be this headline. It should be, hey, the Knicks won a championship. But you know what? Because we're already on to the next thing. One of my pet peeves with ESPN is, hey, the Knicks, no, here are the odds next year. Like, stop with that. Get out of here. Next time there's a championship in any sport, that's a stupid ESPN.com headline. It's not just them. It's others. Like, here's what's happening next. Can you just kind of enjoy the moment? While Dolan went on WFAN today, when, of course, he doesn't make himself all that available. And it's also noteworthy because, well, they're not the broadcast partner for the New York Knicks. But the fan being the sports radio power down in New York, he said the Knicks won't go into the second apron. Now, I could just glaze you over, and quite frankly, I don't bleep and care when it comes to the cap. And you may not either. Just tell me what you can or can't do, right? And the gist of it is this. The gist is, hey, unless the Knicks decide to make trades or do something, the core of the team is going to stay. Okay, so you're not going to see Anunoby going anywhere. You're not going to see, Brunson will certainly be there. Hart, all the guys that were starters will be there. However, there are a few free agents. Landry Shamet, Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson became like a cult figure in New York, right? Like, dude can't hit a free throw to save his life, but man, don't go into the paint. Face that guy. Jose Alvarado can opt out. He'd be due $4.5 million. That's his decision. If I'm him, you're a New York hero. Stay, right? But you're going to lose one of those guys if Alvarado doesn't opt out. Do you get rid of? Might be Shamet. Okay.
He didn't look great in the finals, for what it's worth. Not that that's all that matters.
No, but comparatively speaking, like everybody else, you could say, wow, that looked great for the most part. It's just like, do you need actually to have these conversations today, or can you just celebrate? And if, put it this way, right? If the Buffalo Bills win the Super Bowl, or when they win the Super Bowl, let me just put a positive spin. They win someday. this is going to kind of invade the what's next is going to invade the celebration here in Western New York. Meaning, hey, this coordinator just got hired by somewhere else. Like, wow, what the job Jim Leonard did for the Buffalo Bills defense. And boy, you don't normally see defensive coordinators get head coach jobs. This is a bright young mind. He gets hired by the Saints or whoever. Things like that will happen, or contract questions or anything else. I guess that's just kind of a statement in life. And I want to be upset at James Dolan for many reasons, and I want to be upset at him for like today. If you're asked the question, you just could have said, "Hey guys, not today, not today." Like we're here to celebrate and want to talk about these guys. But he didn't do that, and so that's where I'm saying I can't talk out of both sides of my mouth. He answered the question, and there are going to be some tweaks to the roster. Now, there is one thing that I want to put on blast, and that's this. So there's a writer for Yahoo Sports. His name is Tom Habistro. And on the day of the parade in New York City, he wrote this piece. The New York Knicks title deserves an asterisk. Okay. Now, to give a take on this, shouldn't I read the article? Shouldn't I at least get the gist of it? I didn't click on it because I thought it was clickbaity, right? I think, like, there is no argument you could make that would make me say, you know what, the Knicks got lucky here. How so? Because the Spurs were the best the Western Conference had to offer.
Right. They did something that OKC couldn't do.
Too bad. Yes, Minnesota's really good. Yes, Denver was really good. Yes, OKC was really good. None of them got to the final. In fact, only one OKC got to the conference final, not named San Antonio. Yes, I think we can all acknowledge the Western Conference is the better conference. And maybe this is my first experience because probably if you're a Celtic fan, you probably would say, Gene, we had a piece like this back then too. Or the year that Cleveland finally won. Like, I can't believe this. Like, there's somebody out there that's kind of a Nick hater. And I would just point to this, that Atlanta was feisty, but once the Knicks got past that, you flicked away Philadelphia like they were a bug. Same with Cleveland. And for the most part, you dominated. Look, you dominated the series with the Spurs. Oh, did you? Because actually, there were only 5 games. You lost 4 of the 5. So this is just what drives people nuts. And maybe shame on me. Maybe I should have actually read the story, and I am not.
No, when it takes that bad, you don't have to.
No, but it does bring up a question though. At 585-866-4326, we're on Twitter. See, Dan DeLorean still calls it Twitter.
Me too.
And I do when I forget. It's actually called X.
Nah, it's Twitter.
At WGR Rochester, it does bring up a topic. What championships in pro sports actually do deserve an asterisk? And I think the answer, once I tell you, be like, oh, yeah, that's obvious. I'd say it's anything from 2020. Shortened season that you can't compare this to that. They made the best out of a not great situation. The NFL, sure. The Buccaneers won that year fair and square. They beat the Chiefs. It was same length of the season. Kind of weird in some empty stadiums, but they don't deserve an asterisk for that. And yes, that was Tom Brady. The Tampa Bay Lightning deserve an asterisk for that. The LA Dodgers do. The LA Lakers do. But 2 of those 3 made amends. We don't think of the Lightning that way because you know why? They won another one under normal circumstances. We don't think of the Dodgers that way because, hey, look at where they are now. And that organization actually might have got cheated out of one by the Astros in one year in the World Series. The Dodgers and Lightning, I don't view the same way as I view the LeBron James Lakers in the Disney bubble, right? Because when we talk about the greatness of LeBron James, I said it that way. Yes, he is going to be great and also with July 1st, just get ready. Where's LeBron coming? Oh, he could be in Cleveland again. He can be in Golden State, wherever. Okay, fantastic. Knock yourself out, LeBron. He won a title in Miami, He won the one in Cleveland, and he won the one with the LA Lakers that none of us will ever remember. Pop quiz, Tim, who they beat in the bubble?
No idea.
Yeah, right.
I don't know.
Proof positive.
I have no idea, honestly.
It was Miami.
Cool.
It was so weird because that was
the 8 seed Miami, if I recall.
It was in October. It was that the Miami 8 seed? I don't know. Look that up. I don't think so. Yeah, we went
23.
Yeah.
So
yes. Well, my point is there anything else? And if you want to debate me on that, say no. Those teams won the championship fair and square. They had the same rules as anybody else. I would just say no. Don't compare that bubble championship for the Lakers to a championship. Well, like I don't know, Kobe Bryant did single-handedly against the Celtics, or Kobe and Shaq, or where they're not comparable. And we're talking about the LeBron greatness. That's an easy counter argument. Some say, well, LeBron won with 3 different franchises. Like, well, did he ever win when we had a normal season with the Lakers? The answer is no. No, he did not.
It doesn't not count, but it also gets that asterisk.
It gets the asterisk, right? That is the definition of an asterisk. An asterisk means, hey, I am a lawyer. I'm pretending a lawyer, and you're going to present to me your sports argument, and I'm going to put a hole in it. Peek, just a little pinprick. And okay, you can't defend against that. Now, had the Bills won this past year, there would have been people.
You could argue it, yeah.
No. Well, there would have been people. You would have had Nick Wright going, "You'd like to see this when Patrick Mahomes is actually healthy." This, Tim, might be my worst of all impressions. Nick Wright, who
sound like that guy from Lord of the Rings.
Yes, that I actually went to Syracuse, and I know how to get under your skin, Bills fans. I've got this note on the Bills uniforms. It's not an official note, but I'm curious what people think about this. 585-866-4326. That is the Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub Wingman Line, award-winning barbecue from Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub, 135 West Commercial Street, East Rochester, goodsmokebbq.com. Before we get to that, let's give away more Wings tickets.
Last ones, right?
Yes. Caller 3.
All
I'm
right.
changing it up. Caller
there are
3.
no rules.
No rules today. No rules. Caller 3 at 585-866-4326 gets 4 tickets to see the Rochester Red Wings take on the Toledo Mud Hens this coming Friday night. If you can go tomorrow night, we're going to hook you up. Good luck from your friends here at WGR Rochester.
Rochester Sports Update.
Wings are back on top in the International League by percentage points. They had a walk-off win. Meanwhile, Memphis lost last night. Wings manager Matt LeCroy on finding a way.
I'm proud of how they fought. We made some mistakes. We made some mistakes on the bases that maybe hindered us a little bit, but they continue to fight, and our bullpen did an awesome job keeping us in it. So proud of the guys. They continue to fight. They believe in themselves, and this is fun, man. They're embracing it, and hopefully this win today will get us really going offensively.
On the Major League scoreboard, the Jays are up on the Red Sox 2-0. Yankees taking on the White Sox tonight. Webster's Jackson Orman, he just triple bogeyed number 10. He's now 8 over through 11 at the U.S. Open. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, WGR Rochester.
Rochester's home for live sports and the best sports talk anywhere. The Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia, 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR, Rochester.
Interesting note from the Bills that just came across. Adam Schefter and others now reporting this. The Buffalo Bills have brought in a street free agent. His name, and you may not have heard of this guy, his name is Ian Wheeler. Ian Wheeler was in a camp with the Bears in 24. Had a cup of coffee, couple weeks in the Saints. Really hasn't done anything in the NFL, but he still wants to keep going. He was the United Bowl MVP for the Louisville Kings that just wrapped up at the UFL. So the Bills bringing in, hey, sure, but it's somebody that played college at Howard, right? So that's not exactly a football factory. Hell, College wasn't a football factory, and look what Fred Jackson. I'm not suggesting that Ian Wheeler is going to turn into Fred Jackson, but I do think it is a sneaky need for the Buffalo Bills, and follow me on this, because James Cook is exquisite. He's worth the money. That opinion may change 2 years from now, 3 years from now, but right now, he's one of the top 5 running backs in the league. Argue that against me, I will listen to your argument, and I'll go toe-to-toe with you on that. But beyond that, look, Ray Davis, he's not at that level. Ty Johnson wasn't available. Ty Johnson could do some things for you. I just think that there should be another guy in the pipeline for the Buffalo Bills. Somebody that, hey, you get to the end of the season, this might be the guy. Like, so when you get to the preseason portion, right, it's boring. And there was a guy, Blackshear, who ended up with Carolina. And like, Ian Wheeler's going to be that guy. Watch. You watch. He's going to be that guy for the Buffalo Bills coming up at training camp in the preseason. So the Bills make a move. I haven't seen the corresponding move because you just can't sign players. Again, this isn't official yet, so I'm sure once it is, we'll figure out how the Buffalo Bills will go about that. 585-866-4326. The Bills uniform note, and again, this is nothing official, but how would everybody feel about the Bills' alternate uniform this year being a gray jersey and then a blue helmet? This is making its rounds online, and it's tough to determine whether this is something that is leaking or just kind of taking on a life of its own. But there is a gray jersey that is, been popping up here for sale online. And, like, where did that kind of come from? I wasn't, like, a big fan of these, what do they call it? The rivalry uniform last year, the all white. That you couldn't see the numbers. I don't think they're not going to bring that back, but if you're going to go with like an alternate look and an alternate helmet, I'm sorry, that's pretty clear. Like, what we want is the red helmet. Bring out the red helmet 2 games a year. Make it special, preferably home games, right? Bring them out against big opponents. Get that crowd all riled up, right? It was fun to see the Bills in red for the last Highmark game. No idea whether the Bills will bring back the red helmets once again, if that'll become kind of an annual thing. For years, like, it was the throwback uniform that was kind of a thing for the Bills, with a standing buffalo. But most of us If you had to go throwback, would prefer the red helmet. Anything at this point, though, barring a throwback, people don't like. They will just kind of I don't know how you could make a decision on this until you actually see it. Not some sort of mock-up, not some sort of like if the Bills are going to go gray and blue, maybe it pops. Maybe it looks great under natural sunlight. I don't know. I think that, and I had this take in hour number 1, that we're at a point where we're just overloaded when it comes to uniforms. That now we're just kind of numb to it. Like, oh, great, another City Connect that I didn't ask for or didn't even want. Or college football. Who am I watching even? What is this? If I have to spend a minute, that's not right. You should be able to. that's
endless concepts.
Yeah, endless concepts.
We've hit the point where just because you have an idea or just because you can doesn't mean you should.
No, and I would think that, sure, there's some people that will collect and throw whatever you put on, they will collect it,
right,
and they will buy the merch at this point.
Guilty.
Yeah, for sure. And hey, we love the Red Wings, and they come up with different concepts. This is different. I'm talking about major leagues, right? I'm talking about, do we need the Sabres to be in a blue and gold version of the goat head?
Yes.
That's no.
Yes.
We don't. We don't, Tim.
I think we do.
No, we don't. No. I'm sorry. And if you think I'm like old man here, I like the home uniform and the road uniform and maybe an alternate for a special occasion.
I like the alternate. The goat head is great, but I think it needs to become the same color as they are now.
No, that's kind of a part of the identity of the franchise, is that you had these great, again, the only thing that people can agree on, throwback.
Yes,
throwback.
Retro.
Pick whatever your favorite team is in any sport. There's exceptions to every rule. I don't want the TO throwback. I'm sorry. What were we?
The dark blue.
The dark blue and the mishmash where we look like the Titans North and the Reds didn't match. That was disgusting. That was a symbol of this franchise doesn't know what they're doing,
top to bottom.
Yeah, it was a gross look for the Buffalo Bills. But by and large, if you're a fan, you enjoy the throwbacks. For me, the Mets, if they decided, hey, we're going to put the racing stripes down the sleeves and the pant leg, and we're going to make it look like it's 1986. Fine. Yeah, put on that polyester. I'm all for it. Let's go. Tim, for you, if you went back to, all right, the Carlos Baerga, Joey Bell days.
Yeah, but you can't even do that anymore because it's a different team name.
Didn't they have Cleveland across the front on the road? I think
they did.
Yeah,
I actually have that one. Yeah, the early 90s.
The early 90s. So, could you, you couldn't do that.
You'd have to change the lettering on it, which kind of dissuades from the throwback part of it.
Right. All right. To me, the Browns right now should just have a complete makeover. I was going to say, what are they throwing back to? It's
Baltimore. Go back to Baltimore. Go away.
Go away. This is now the part of the season with mini camps winding down, and you're heading into the 4th of July, and these will be the daily leaks that, oh my gosh, this is what your team will wear as kind of an alternate helmet. My gosh, look, the Vikings are going with a white helmet last year. The Packers are going with a white helmet. I've seen some ridiculous mock-up that the Bears, it's a white helmet that moshes the two logos. That looks gross. I hope that's not real. Can we come up with, again, we've run out of ideas. Hollywood has run out of ideas for the big screen. And, for uniforms, we're all going to be numb to everything. We all won't like everything. It'll be very cool for you to say, no, that won't work for me. Anything but the red helmet. We'll have some final thoughts coming your way next. Last call is for you. And yes, tomorrow is a holiday. But with us, going to be out at the stadium on Friday night, we're going to make sure that we're going to do a show for you tomorrow. We'll set you up for that as well, tell you who's coming on the show. My name is Gene Battaglia, along with Tim Schneider and Dan Drummy, and this is WGR Rochester.
Straight up with no chaser. You're in the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia on the Sports Leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR, Rochester.
We talked earlier this week to Coach Jimmy Patsos. It was great, right? We're talking about the Knicks and some of the things that San Antonio did wrong in that series. And Jimmy Patsos covers the Washington Wizards. Now, if there's a more nameless, faceless, never done anything franchise, like, what are you going to go back to the days when they were wearing purple and Michael Jordan showed up there for just a little bit? Are you going to go back to the days when they were called the Bullets? Yeah, we actually had a team named the Bullets. Probably I was like, yeah, you know what? That's probably not a good team name. It's like how the Houston Colt 45s aren't a thing anymore. But like they're just invisible on the sports landscape. And here they were last year. All right, well, they get Trae Young in a trade with Atlanta. I think a couple things. One, didn't do anything for Atlanta. Once Atlanta kind of got rid of him, I think Atlanta had the best showing of any team against the Knicks. Isn't that funny? Like, they actually won 2 games. The Spurs did not. Trae Young going to Washington, maybe he can be the leader of this team. He opted out today. He's walking away from $48 million next season to leave the Wizards. How bad is that? or is just Trae Young, his representation can't get through to him? Because I'm going to tell you this, like, in terms of what he would earn just in the next season, nobody's paying him $48 million. I'm sorry. Like, maybe he's looking longer term, meaning, all right, I'm actually going to go somewhere else, and instead of $48 million over 1 year, I'll make I don't even know. I don't want to guess there, but like, say 75 over 2. Like I'm just going to go for like something longer and try. And there's no, with these guys, there's no altruistic reason to. Like,
unless you're Jalen Brunson trying to win a trophy, right?
That's why, like, at some point in the back of my mind, you're gonna like, oh my gosh, wow, look at all these stock options that the Brunson family received. Yeah, like part of me is just, sorry to be so cynical on this, but there are sports that say, hey, moratorium on news, moratorium. Basketball and NHL can't do this because, well, their seasons are too darn long, and they've got to get everything in place here for next year. I always thought the NBA would be best served if they actually kind of, move their season to run during the summer, meaning, hey, it's a TV sport anyway, right? And could they actually have these arenas filled over the summer and actually have a championship in August and have kind of that set apart, start the season on Christmas Day, and then kind of work it that way, and you're wrapped up? The answer is probably not, just because of the rookies, just because you need to sync it up with college basketball. That wouldn't be possible. Like, you'd be having a draft midseason and players joining midseason, so that wouldn't make sense in the end, I believe. 585-866-4326 is our phone number. Did we put a curse there on Ernie Clement? So
no,
you did. You Danhausen him. You said Ernie Clement. So Tim's take on Monday, Ernie Clement, I love you. You're great. Vote for Ernie Clement. That was kind of the take, right? I love you, Ernie. That was you, right? Ernie Clement.
Why do I sound like Bert from Sesame Street?
Well, do you get it now? Bert and Ernie. Never mind. Ernie Clement, now batting .293. He's in a slump. He's 0 for 2 today.
In a slump, he's 0 for 2.
He's 0 for 2.
Guy stinks. Never mind. Votes rescinded. You're out of here.
No. He hasn't had a hit since you said that. That's how you go from today. He's 0 for 2. He was 0 for 4 yesterday, 0 for 5 the day before.
He'll be fine.
He'll be fine, I'm sure. Oh, I'm sorry. I stand corrected as I just hit refresh. He's 0 for 3.
All right, never mind.
Still batting .292.
Back to AAA. No All-Star game for you.
No All-Star game for Ernie Clement.
That's on me. Danhausen by Tim Schneider.
Like, listen, I actually have the audio for Monday. Ready? Ernie Clement is great. I love Ernie Clement. He should be on the All-Star team. Please vote for Ernie Clement.
Just a guy supporting local talent, you know?
Oh, see, we can needle each other, and we don't take offense to it, right? Like, we just try to have fun in the sports bar.
You're going to curveball that ball into the dirt tomorrow.
You're going to root for me to do that. I know some people are going to do that. Nighthawk head coach, new Nighthawk head coach. His name is Troy Cordingley, who will join us on the show tomorrow. Make sure to join us. Yes, it's a holiday tomorrow. We'll be here with you from 1 to 3. If you miss any of today's show, it's up for you on the Odyssey app. We are on the air live 1 to 3 Eastern Time, weekdays here in the Sports Bar. Thanks to Dan DeLorean, who is always doing fine work. If you miss any part of today's show, including our guest Brian Koziol, you can find that wherever you get your audio on demand. Show Up in the Bulldog coming your way next. For Dan DeLorean, for Tim Schneider, my name is Gene Battalion, and this is Rochester's sports leader, WGR Rochester.